topic of tonight's lecture, as you know, is human age reversal. And it still may seem a little bit strange to many people in this room. But bear in mind, every single major medical advance was criticized. It was greeted with skepticism. It was even considered immoral. Every single medical advance. When age reversal becomes the norm, it will become an obligation of medicine. Just like it is an obligation of medicine to use a defibrillator when someone is having a cardiac arrest. Just like all these other technologies have become real and an obligation of medicine, so will the reversal of human aging. Now, this part of the talk I give is very controversial. It deals with myself and a number of other people. I was looking for a word to describe what I would feel like if I knew all the information that I'm talking about tonight. And obviously, I know something about it because I'm able to talk about it. But if I knew all this information and I sat back and did nothing about it, I just let aging take its course, felt myself just deteriorating, degenerating, contracting all kinds of age-related ailments, and just didn't do anything about it. Well, before I wound up in a situation where maybe I wouldn't have the regrets that I could really feel or notice, before that happened, in too many cases, you wind up in an ICU unit. And this can be a result of immune senescence. You develop a flu, you're old, your immune system has just conked out on you, and you go to the hospital. You hope to get out of the hospital in a couple days, but the flu worsens. And that's because you have no immune system left. And you're in a situation where you're intubated, you're on a respirator, and if there's anything left as far as your cognitive function, I don't want to be ashamed of myself. I don't want to feel disgraced that I failed to at least try to make something happen. I don't want to be in a predicament where something that could have been done wasn't because I failed to act. So that's the reason why we're going to talk about some people tonight. And I don't like to talk inappropriately about individuals, but this individual is of particular interest. He was worth over $1 billion. He died at the age of 82 this year. He owned 7,000 apartment units in San Diego. Now, he did something interesting when he contracted cancer. He started parting with some of his money, which is a good thing to do. He put $110 million into cancer research, hoping it would save his life. It didn't. But as he was battling cancer, he made it very clear. He's making more money than he's ever made in his life. More money, but it's of no use to him. When you're undergoing chemotherapy and radiation and it isn't working, you don't really feel like that money has any value whatsoever. He should have done something sooner. And I'm saying that in the context of going back. Let's go back to December 2013. Let's pretend that all the individuals you're about to see were in this room December 2013, that's 3 years ago, listening to me talk, and they decided to do nothing about the aging process. Well, unfortunately, they would be dead. Now, I own a Toyota. That's the car I drive. On the back of that Toyota is Ed Morse. Unfortunately, Ed Morse himself is not here. He died this year, worth over $1.6 billion. Like many of the people you're going to see, they were charitable. They wrote money to mainstream charities, so there was nothing that we can say wrong in that regard. But what their mistake is, they did not strategically donate or strategically invest. And what I mean by that is, you just saw a study where reversing thymic atrophy could reverse immune senescence. Well, if you know that can happen and you've got the opportunity to invest in that opportunity and don't do it, and then you wind up in that ICU unit, that's shameful. It's actually a disgrace that you decided money, even though it's more than I'm ever going to spend, is more important than I hold on to than keeping myself alive. Ed Morse, you see the commercials running all over the place. The company's doing great. Unfortunately, Ed isn't. Now, in 2015, a number of wealthy people died. Founder of Staples, worth over $220 million, dead at 66 of gastric cancer. The founder of Subway, worth over $3.5 billion, died of leukemia complications. Now, when he fell ill with leukemia, he went to the Yale University Medical School. He went to a prestigious university and got treatment. Unfortunately, the treatment did not last. He died several years later with $3.5 billion. Now, I don't know where he put money as far as charitable purposes, but he didn't strategically put it where he should have. Most of these people did not. Jackie Collins didn't know who she was until she died. and then found out she was worth $180 million. And she too wrote money to charities like so many people do, but she didn't strategically seek out therapies that would keep her and other human beings alive. She didn't do it, and so many others didn't. And you don't always have to have a lot of money. Your fame can enable you to put people together, to make things happen. Leonard Nimoy had a little bit of money, but he also had a tremendous amount of fame. And he didn't use that adequately to advance the science of age reversal. And maybe you think Kirk Kerkorian at the age of 98, well, that's long enough. It sure isn't for me, by the way. At 98, though, he died. Now, he did donate over $1 billion to a lot of different charities, most of them not medically related, by the way. But I wondered what Kirk was thinking about when he turned 70 and 80 and 90. He was wealthy for a very long period of time, but he didn't put the money where he should have. He's no longer around. His money is. A lot of people are enjoying his money. He's been in the ground now for about a year. So the bottom line is, we know what killed people in 1900. We know what's killing them today. And we think we know how to reverse biological aging in human beings. To give you an idea of what happens when you delay a technology, remember Alexander Fleming was able to observe that the penicillin mold killed bacteria in a petri dish. He published his work the very next year in 1929, and that's what a scientist should do, is publish his work so the world finds out about it. But it wasn't made available. Penicillin was not made widely available until after 1945. A lot of people died prematurely from all of these illnesses and more because of that delay in moving penicillin technology ahead. And we're in the identical situation today. We've got ways to reverse aging that are already working in human populations, and we're not using our resources adequately. There was a 17-year delay between the time of Alexander Fleming's discovery until the time that penicillin became widely available. Millions of needless deaths. Age reversal demonstrated in the animal model in 1972, and very little done until the last 3 years. As you're going to see, very little was done about it. We don't want to be a victim of something that's theoretically curable today, but no one moved the technology forward.